They laughed as the gate slammed shut, because they were sure the dogs would finish what their cruelty started. What they didn't know was that the dogs already knew her name. The sun sat high and merciless over the training yard when the cadets shoved her forward, dust puffing around their boots. Their voices carried across the open space, sharp with arrogance, daring anyone to stop them. A chain rattled. The pen door creaked open. Inside, the canines paced, ribs visible beneath glossy coats, eyes bright and watchful. The cadets jeered, convinced fear would do the rest. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. Her name was Mara Hale, and she stood straight even as her pulse thundered in her ears. She tasted iron. The heat pressed against her skin, the smell of dry grass and metal filling her lungs. She'd been quiet since arriving at the facility, careful, observant, refusing to rise to insults. That silence had been mistaken for weakness. Now, with a shove, she stumbled into the pen and the gate clanged shut behind her. The dogs froze. Their nails scraped the concrete once, then stopped. A breeze carried the distant sound of laughter from the fence line. Someone whistled. Someone else said they'd bet 10 minutes. Mara's mind raced, not with panic, but calculation. She'd trained in chaos before. She'd learned how fear travels through a body and how to slow it down. Still, a question flickered, unwanted and human. What if they don't remember? She had raised them from pups. Yes, she had signed the papers, paid the fees, trained them with patience and hours of repetition. But hunger changes things. Time changes things. The nearest dog lifted its head, ears forward, eyes locked on her. She lowered herself slowly, palms open, letting the dust coat her knees. The yard beyond the fence had gone quieter. A few instructors had stepped out of the shade, arms crossed, sensing a shift they couldn't name. Phones appeared in hands. A murmur rippled like wind through wheat. Mara breathed out. "Easy," she said, her voice steady, threaded with a softness that felt like sunlight. "It's me." The dogs didn't charge. A microsecond stretched. Then a tail wagged. Another followed. The lead dog stepped closer, nose twitching, recognition blooming like a held breath finally released. A chorus of whines rose, not feral, but eager, aching. The laughter died. One cadet gripped the fence, knuckles whitening. Another took a step back. What the Mara smiled then, not in triumph, but relief. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a battered whistle. She didn't blow it. She didn't need to. The dogs pressed in, surrounding her, not as weapons, but as guardians, bodies forming a living wall. She stood, dusted her palms, and faced the fence. The moral weight of the moment settled on her shoulders. She could let fear teach its lesson. She could let them feel small. The yard held its breath, waiting to see which version of her would step forward. She chose the harder one. "Open the gate," she said calmly. A voice barked from the shade, an instructor, finally finding authority. Tools clanged. The gate swung wide. The dogs moved as one, flowing past her legs and sitting at heel, perfect lines in bright daylight. It looked like choreography. It felt like justice. Mara walked out. Conversations erupted, sharp and stunned. Neighbors along the fence leaned in. Someone whispered her name, having finally learned it. The cadets stared at the ground. She didn't raise her voice. "They're not starved," she said. Eyes level. "They're conditioned. And they're mine." Papers changed hands. Records were checked. The truth spread fast, like shade after noon. Consequences followed. Quiet, firm, irreversible. The dogs were fed, praised, loaded into a transport that glinted white under the sun. Mara watched them go, hand resting over her heart, feeling the tremor fade, because cruelty loves the dark. But daylight remembers who we are. And sometimes the gate that closes in laughter opens to recognition. If this story moved you, share where you're watching from, and what you would have done in her place. Subscribe for more stories where courage steps into the light and stays.